Hi guys, Behemoth here. Today we are diving into the anti-tank class, looking at the history of the weapons at their disposal and giving my own personal tips to help new players as well as veterans. So without wasting any more time, let's begin. The M1A1 Bazooka is a portable recoilless anti-tank rocket launcher which was deployed by the US in 1942 all the way up to the Falklands War. The Bazooka has an effective range of 140 meters and an armor penetration value of 76mm. In Hell Let Loose you have a total of two M6A3 projectiles. These have round noses to have a lesser chance of ricocheting towards their target. Now, playing as the US, you will come up against more heavily armoured tanks, such as the Panther, Tiger 1 and the Panzer IV. To take these big cats out, you must focus on hitting the rear side of these tanks, as they deal the most damage. Now, the Germans have access to the Panzerschreck, a lightweight infantry anti-tank weapon based on the Americans' Bazooka, which was captured in Tunisia February 1943. Its service began in spring of 1944, and this shoulder-mounted weapon fired an 8mm thin-charged warhead, effective at penetrating 250mm of armour up to 100 meters. Back then, this weapon was armed by a fire unloader, and within Hell Let Loose, you were given this weapon at an 80 capacity with 2 rockets. Now, the best way to utilise the Panzerschreck is by the enemy's rear and sides at 90 degrees, because this is where the armour is at its most weakest. Try to get at least 50 meters of any tank to then adjust your sights to not allow a rocket drop to occur. With the light and recon vehicles such as the Greyhound and Stuart, you only need one rocket to take them out. For the medium Sherman and heavy tanks such as the 76mm Jumbo, you must solely focus on its rear end and sides. Now let's talk about my favourite loadout for the anti-tank, the Satchel charge. In World War II, this was utilised by combat engineers to destroy heavy stationary targets, such as bunkers, and as an anti-tank, it was able to destroy medium tanks as well as heavier tank tracks to disable them. Within Hell Let Loose, Satchel charges are able to be set a fuse at 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and 120 seconds. The best way to utilise these as an anti-tank is placing them on the rear ends of tanks, and also sneaking up on them sneaky beaky like is a huge must. If all else fails, you do have a backup option of the Telemine 43, which is a German made anti-tank mine composed of 5.5 kilograms of explosives, which is sealed within sheet metal casting fitted with a fuse via active pressure. This mine was capable of destroying allied tank tracks as well as light vehicles. Finally, let's talk about the anti-tank guns, specifically the PAK-40. This gun was developed in 1939 to 1941 and entered service with over 23,303 in 1942. This performed the backbone of the German anti-tank guns for the later part of World War II, and the weapon was effective against almost every Allied tank until the end of the war, struggling to penetrate heavier armoured vehicles such as the IS-1, the Sherman Jumbo, and later variants of the British Churchill. In Hell Let Loose, you unlock this class at level 6 on console, and within this, you receive a wrench to be able to build the anti-tank gun. However, you will need the support to help you as supplies will be needed. Now, how do I utilise this? I utilise this by using it as a defensive option within a control point, to help deny enemy infantry from closing the gap. One thing I must say is when you fire the anti-tank gun's shells, you will be costing 5 munitions for each shot. So don't waste shots, as resources are very precious to the commander, so he can utilise his abilities. Now let's give you some quick tips and tricks on how to use the anti-tank class on the battlefield. Tip 1. Deploy smoke. This tactic can be very effective if coming up against an enemy tank rolling towards your position. Place smoke in front of the tank to build cover for USD-80 to go around to either neutralise the tank with a launcher or satchel charge, and I can assure you, your teammates will thank you for utilising smoke. Tip 2. Teamwork makes the dream work. Now I always play in game chat, and whenever I see a friendly AT, I always tend to help them out as support by taking the tanks out. And what's not better than having an extra 2 rockets at your disposal, then redeploying. Tip 3 is to utilise satchel charges to destroy garrisons. Now this tactic can go very well, especially for those garrisons within red zones, as they take a while to destroy. So utilise your satchel charge or bazooka, as it will become more quicker to destroy them. And finally, tip 4, longer range engagements. This can be very difficult, but once you start practicing this more often in game, you won't even need to think about the distance of any tank. So the distance of your target is always the bottom of your ping, and here's a diagram for both the Bazooka and Panzerschreck for usage. Okay guys, it's time to grab your favourite anti-tank weapon and try these tips out on the battlefield. If you found this video helpful, then why not give it a like and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I will see you all in the next one. This is Behemoth, signing off.